The Mouse Who Wanted a Friend. In a small meadow near the forest, there lived a tiny gray mouse named Milo. Milo had very little feet and very soft whiskers. He liked quiet things, quiet flowers, quiet rain, quiet mornings. The other animals played together every day. The rabbits jumped together, the birds sang together, the squirrels ran through the trees together. But Milo was always alone. He wanted to say hello. He wanted to join them. But every time he tried, his tiny voice became smaller and smaller. So Milo stayed near his little wooden home beside the flowers. He watched the others from far away. At night, he looked up at the stars and whispered softly,
I wish I had a friend too.
One sunny morning, Milo saw the rabbits playing beside the hill. They laughed and rolled in the grass together. Milo smiled softly. Maybe today could be different. Slowly, he walked toward them. His little heart beat fast.
Hello?
He whispered quietly. But the rabbits were loud and playful. They did not hear him. Milo tried again.
Hello?
Still nothing. The rabbits hopped away together, laughing happily. Milo stood very still in the grass. The warm wind moved gently through his fur. He looked down at his tiny paws. He did not want to be loud. He only wanted someone to notice him, someone to sit beside him, someone to stay. The next day, Milo tried again. He carried a bright red berry to a squirrel sitting in a tree.
This is for you,
Milo said softly. But before the squirrel heard him, 2 birds flew down and the squirrel ran away with them. Milo quietly placed the berry on the ground. Later, he tried talking to a family of birds near the river.
Would you like to sit with me?
He asked gently. But the birds quickly flew into the sky before hearing his tiny voice. That evening, Milo made a little flower crown and sat beside the meadow path, hoping someone would stop and talk to him. But the animals hurried past as the sun slowly disappeared. Milo looked at the flower crown in his lap and sighed softly. That night, the meadow felt bigger than ever. Milo curled into a tiny ball beside his little home. The moonlight touched the soft grass around him. Far away, he could hear the other animals laughing together. Milo closed his eyes tightly.
Maybe I'm too small,
he whispered sadly.
Maybe nobody wants a friend like me.
A cold little breeze moved through the flowers. Milo pulled his tail close to himself. Everything felt quiet. Very quiet. Then suddenly, Milo heard a tiny sound nearby. Sniff, sniff. He slowly opened his eyes. Under a flower leaf sat a very small turtle. The turtle looked scared and alone, too. Milo carefully walked closer to the little turtle. Are you all right? He asked softly. The turtle looked up slowly.
I got lost,
the turtle whispered. Milo sat beside him quietly. You can stay here for a while, Milo said kindly. The turtle smiled a tiny smile. Together, they listened to the soft night sounds, crickets chirping, leaves moving, water flowing far away.
Your voice feels calm,
the turtle said sleepily. Milo blinked in surprise. Calm? The turtle nodded.
You make me feel safe.
Milo's little heart felt warm inside. No one had ever said that before. And as the stars sparkled above them, Milo began to understand something gentle and new. The next morning, Milo helped the little turtle find his family near the river. The turtle smiled happily. "Thank you, Milo," he said. "You are the kindest mouse I've ever met." Nearby, some rabbits watched quietly. One rabbit stepped closer.
You helped him feel better,
she said softly. Milo's whiskers twitched a little.
I just stayed beside him,
Milo answered. The rabbit smiled.
That matters.
Soon, the other animals slowly gathered near Milo. Not because he was loud, not because he was fast, but because he was gentle. And gentle made others feel warm and safe. For the first time, Milo stopped wishing to be different. That night, the meadow felt soft and peaceful. Milo rested beneath the flowers near his tiny home. The little turtle slept beside him under a warm leaf blanket. Fireflies glowed softly in the dark. The wind moved gently through the grass. Milo listened to the quiet sounds around him. Soft breathing, soft wind, soft little footsteps in the meadow. His small heart felt full and warm. He was still tiny, still quiet, still gentle. But now, he knew something important. Small hearts can still make others feel loved. Milo closed his eyes slowly as the stars shimmered above the peaceful meadow. And wrapped in the calm night air, the little mouse finally felt he belonged. The friendly monster who didn't scare anyone. In a quiet part of the world, far beyond the busy towns and bright lights, there was a small, cozy cave where a little monster lived. And unlike the other monsters who roared loudly and tried their best to scare anyone who came too close, this little monster was gentle, soft-spoken, and kind. While the big monsters practiced their scary faces and deep growls, he would sit quietly at the edge of the cave, watching the world with curious eyes, wondering why scaring others was so important to everyone else. Because every time he tried to be frightening, something inside him felt wrong, as if he was pretending to be someone he was not. Instead of chasing people away or hiding in the shadows, he liked to collect shiny stones, listen to the wind echo softly through the cave, and imagine what it would be like to have a friend, rather than someone to scare. And as the night would fall, and the other monsters would head out to practice being terrifying, the little monster stayed behind, looking up at the stars, and quietly wishing that one day he might find a place where being kind was not something strange, but something that made him belong. One evening, as the sky turned dark and the other monsters gathered at the entrance of the cave, it was time for everyone to go out and practice being as scary as possible, just like they did every night. And the little monster was called to join them. The older monsters showed him how to roar loudly, how to stretch his arms wide, and how to make big, frightening faces that would send anyone running away. And although he tried to copy them, his roar came out soft and wobbly, more like a quiet hum than something truly scary. And instead of looking fierce, his face only made the others laugh, their deep voices echoing through the cave as they told him he needed to be louder, stronger, and much more frightening. Wanting to fit in, The little monster tried again, pushing himself harder each time. But no matter what he did, it never felt right, as if he was wearing a mask that did not belong to him. And the more he tried, the more confused he became, wondering why something so natural for the others felt so difficult for him. And as the night went on, he slowly stepped back, his shoulders lowering, feeling smaller than ever, unsure if he would ever become the kind of monster everyone expected him to be. Later that night, wanting to prove to himself that he could be just like the others, the little monster wandered away from the cave and into the quiet forest, determined to try one more time on his own. And as he walked beneath the tall trees, he practiced his roar again and again. But each time, it came out soft and unsure, fading quickly into the night. Suddenly, he noticed a small movement nearby, a tiny creature hiding behind a bush. And thinking this was his chance, he stood up tall, took a deep breath, and tried his very best to look scary. But when a little squirrel peeked out and looked at him with wide, gentle eyes, the monster froze, his heart softening instantly. And instead of roaring, he lowered his arms and stepped back, afraid that he might scare it away. The squirrel did not run. It simply stayed there, calm and curious. And in that quiet moment, the little monster realized something important. No matter how hard he tried, he could not bring himself to be someone who caused fear. Because deep inside, he did not want to frighten anyone at all. And as he sat down slowly, looking at the ground, he felt caught between wanting to belong and wanting to stay true to the gentle nature inside him. As the little monster sat quietly in the forest, unsure of what to do next, the small squirrel took a gentle step closer, its tiny paws moving softly on the ground. And instead of running away, it looked at him with calm and curious eyes, as if it could see that he meant no harm. The little monster hesitated, then softly admitted that he was supposed to be scary, but he did not want to be, because it did not feel right in his heart. And the squirrel listened carefully before giving a small, friendly smile, as if to say that being kind was not something to hide, but something special. Just then, a little bird landed on a branch above them, chirping happily, and instead of flying away, it stayed, as if it too felt safe near him. And in that quiet moment, surrounded by animals who were not afraid, the little monster began to understand something new. That the world did not need another scary monster. It needed one who could be gentle and kind. And as that thought settled inside him, the heaviness he had been carrying slowly began to fade, replaced by a warm and peaceful feeling he had never felt before. From that moment on, the little monster stopped trying to be someone he was not, and instead chose to follow the gentle voice inside his heart, walking through the forest not as something to be feared, but as something kind and calm. And wherever he went, the animals no longer ran away. They stayed, they listened, and slowly, they became his friends. The little squirrel would run beside him, the bird would sing above him, and for the first time, the monster did not feel alone. He felt exactly where he was meant to be. And even when he returned to the cave, something had changed. Because although the other monsters still tried to be loud and frightening, they began to notice that this little monster had something they did not. A quiet strength that did not come from fear, but from kindness. And over time, even they grew curious, watching as the forest seemed to welcome him wherever he went. And so the little monster lifted his head, not to roar, but simply to be himself, calm and true, understanding at last that sometimes what makes us different is not something to hide, but something to be proud of, because it is often our kindness that makes us truly strong. The Little Fox with the Tiny Voice. In a quiet little forest, there lived a tiny fox named Finn. Finn had very small ears, smaller than every other fox in the forest. The other foxes liked to run, jump, and bark loudly together, but Finn was quiet, very quiet. He liked soft things, soft grass, soft rain, soft wind in the trees. At night, Finn would sit beside the river and watch the stars shine in the water. "You are strange," some foxes said. Finn looked down at his little paws. Maybe they were right. But Finn was kind. He always shared berries. He helped lost baby rabbits find their homes. He smiled gently at everyone. Still, deep inside, Finn wondered why he felt so different from the others. And every night, under the sleepy sky, Finn quietly wished,
I hope I belong somewhere too.
One morning, the young foxes gathered near the big hill. "Let's practice our loud barks!" they shouted happily. One by one, the foxes barked into the sky. "Bark! Bark! Bark!" The forest echoed loudly. Finn tried too, but his bark came out small and soft. "Yip." The other foxes stopped and looked at him. "That was tiny," one laughed. Finn's ears lowered. He tried again. "Yip." Still soft. The other foxes ran away to play together. Finn stayed behind near the hill. The wind moved gently through the grass. Finn looked at the clouds above him. He did not want to be loud, but he wanted to fit in. That night, he sat beside the river again. The stars reflected softly in the water.
I wish I could be like everyone else,
Finn whispered quietly. The next day, Finn decided to practice. He stood beside a tree and took a deep breath. "Bark!" But again, only a tiny sound came out. "Yip." Finn sighed softly. Later, he tried to make his voice bigger by standing on a rock. The other foxes watched. Finn puffed his chest. "Bark!" "Yip." A little bird nearby chirped louder than him. Some foxes giggled. Finn's cheeks felt warm. The next evening, Finn tried one more time. He practiced near the river for a long, long time, again and again. "Yip! Yip! Yip!" The river kept flowing softly beside him. No matter how hard he tried, his voice stayed small. Finn slowly curled his tail around himself. Maybe something was wrong with him. Maybe he would never fit in. The stars above looked very far away that night. That night felt colder than usual. Finn walked slowly through the quiet forest. The other foxes were playing together near their warm little dens. Their happy barks filled the air. Finn stayed far away. He found a small spot under a tree and curled into a tiny orange ball. The wind moved softly through the leaves. Finn listened quietly. He felt small, very small. A tear rolled down his fluffy cheek.
I tried so hard,
he whispered. The moon shined gently above him, but even the moon felt far away tonight. Finn closed his eyes. Maybe he would always be different. Maybe different was bad. The forest became very still. Then something warm landed softly beside him. A tiny sleeping bird tucked itself close to Finn's fur. Finn opened his eyes slowly. The little bird looked peaceful and safe beside him. And for the first time that night, Finn did not feel completely alone. The next morning, Finn woke up slowly. The little bird was still beside him.
You are warm,
the bird chirped sleepily. Finn blinked in surprise. Warm? The bird nodded.
Your soft voice is warm too. I was scared last night. Your quiet sounds helped me sleep.
Finn listened carefully. No one had ever said something like that before. Later that day, Finn walked through the forest. A baby rabbit was crying near a bush. Finn sat beside him. It's okay, Finn whispered softly. The rabbit slowly stopped crying.
You sound safe,
the rabbit said. Finn's small ears lifted a little. Safe, warm, soft. Maybe being quiet was not bad at all. That evening, Finn sat beside the river again. The water moved gently. The stars shimmered softly. And for the first time, Finn wondered something new. Maybe I do not need to be loud. The next day, the foxes gathered near the hill again. Let's bark! They shouted happily. Finn stood quietly beside them. One fox smiled a little. Your bark is still tiny, he said. Finn looked down for a moment. Then he smiled softly. That's okay, he answered. The wind moved gently through his fur. Just then, a frightened baby rabbit ran toward the group. The loud barking scared him. The rabbit trembled and hid behind Finn. Finn lowered his head gently. It's all right, he whispered softly. The rabbit slowly calmed down. The other foxes watched quietly. One fox blinked in surprise. He likes your voice, she said softly. Finn nodded. My voice is small, he said, but it helps others feel safe. The foxes looked at him differently now, and Finn finally stopped wishing to be someone else. That night, the forest felt soft and peaceful. The moon glowed gently above the trees. Finn rested beside the quiet river. The little bird slept near his tail. The baby rabbit slept beside his paws. Everything was calm. The water shimmered with tiny stars. Finn listened to the sleepy sounds of the forest. Soft wind, soft water, soft breathing. His little ears twitched gently. For the first time in a long, long while, Finn's heart felt warm and light. He was not loud, he was not big, but he was kind, and that was enough. Finn closed his eyes slowly. The stars sparkled above him. The river whispered softly beside him. And deep in the quiet forest, the small fox finally felt at home.